Yeah, we'll see, Detroit. I'm starting a little bit early again, just in case this run long. So I tend to like playing this deck. So if we do run long, I don't want to cut it early, ideally. So we've got Jeskai Blade here. This is a viewer submitted list as opposed to my preferred iteration that we've played a number of times in the past. The notable differences here is this build does have 4 of my favorite card in it, though. We have 4 Spellstutter Sprites the main, which is like not completely unreasonable in a format full of Brainstorms, Ponders, Forcibles. Like, Sprite's okay for the same reason that Chalice of the Void is great, right? Like, there's a lot of people playing good 1-mana spells. We've also got a couple of new Planeswalkers in here. A lot of blue decks in Legacy, so Teferi's going to be good there against other Force-Will decks that also have instant speed interaction. And I've got a Narset, Parter of the Veils in the sideboard, because that card's really good against Brainstorms and Ponders. So, while also helping us find our own Brainstorms and Ponders. So let's dive in, shall we? Speaking of starting early, I think I'm gonna talk to Christy. And running later into the evening hasn't been working because the viewer count pitches off about 5:30 or so. So I think I might start while the standard queue is backed up a little bit. We've got a lot of submissions. I think I might start trying to start earlier, like start about 7 a.m. as opposed to 8 a.m. I run like 7 to 6 or so, 7 to 5, somewhere in there. Morning, Monster Man. Howdy, Luke. Morning, Esper. Surfing Bird 19. How am I doing? I'm all right. Jake came home with a fever yesterday from daycare, so he's home again today with Christy. Because they need to be fever-free for a day before they can go back, which makes sense. It's a good policy. So we might have a drop-in from him at some point today. Easy mulligan here. No mana. Hand's not even, like, particularly that good, even if it has lands. Like maybe if, like, one of these snaps or the Batterskull were lands, this would be okay. If they, like, these two were lands, would probably be fine. Even on a single land, this might be a little sketchy. Hey, Jack Cause, thank you for the biddies. Good morning. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Seems super reasonable. I'm gonna bottom another ponder here. You want to give myself the best possible chance to hit like find a Stoneforge 8 for on turn 2 ASAP. I've got mismatched ponders. Awkward. Basic Island Ponder. Doesn't tell us a lot about the opponent. Could be a fair deck, could be an unfair deck. Polluted Delta could signify Storm. They could also just be like Miracles, though, or like a Delver or Resist deck. I could get punished for not holding up Flusterstorm here if they're playing Storm, but I do think I want to get some stuff going here. I think I'm going to shuffle this. I feel like I'm looking for like Force or Stoneforge Mystic here. And like maybe because there was a Brainstorm there, we're supposed to keep it, but The Jace is pretty okay regardless of what they're playing. That might be worth keeping. Have you ever considered driving to every Moto opponent's house and holding them at gunpoint to speed up their rate of play? It would be faster than waiting for them. You're not wrong. And that's the big reason why it's just like the Magic Online clock is just like not punishing, right? Morning Cinnabar. Like you just get so much time that there's like no realistic drawback to like not burning some of it doing other things. Preordain is likely to signify a combo deck, but not guaranteed by any means. I think C plus Preordain means I would like to hold up Flusterstorm this turn. I'm going to go ahead and lead on Brainstorm here, because I would like to throw the Swords to Plowshares back. I probably don't want that against a Storm deck. There have been some Grixis control decks that have played Preordain, but I still don't think it's the norm. We'll see. That's probably true that I Mystic Orcs. I'll fix that. They missed a land drop here. So I don't have any red cards in my main deck, so we're going to fetch a Tundra here, because I do want copious amounts of blue mana. I might eventually want white for Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, it could be a variation of Reanimator. I think the Preordain actually makes them a lot less likely to be Reanimator, because usually the blue card selection spell that people play after... The card selection spell that people play after Ponder Brainstorm is usually a careful study in those decks. I think they're likely Storm at this point. Like, obviously no guarantees, but I think they're likely Storm, which means hitting the Forcible here is pretty good. Force plus Fluster hopefully means we're not going to die. GDI JK, thanks for the Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. I don't play Modern, but yesterday I saw a video queue explaining Neoform Gristlebrand combo. The guy won on turn 1. Is this an extreme example or something common in non-rotating formats? Turn 1 wins in Modern especially tend to be the exception as opposed to the rule. However, turn 1 wins in Legacy are not that uncommon. In general, though, Modern is definitely a fast, brutal format, though. So, like, you're dying by turn 3 or especially turn 4 happens very frequently in formats like Modern. That's a Batterskull. I guess I kind of wish I would have kept the Brainstorm in my hand so I could throw something like this back. Those are all really bad. And the Umezawa's Jitte. I guess I can snap Brainstorm down the line. I'm going to pass here. I'm not going to play the True Name because I want to save that to pitch to Force of Will. I want to snap Fluster. My opponent showed us Dark Ritual and Infernal Tutor here, so they are definitely a Storm deck. Just gonna let Duress resolve here. I could force them to like not let them know the contents of my hand. Like now they get to know that they only need to beat Snap Fluster. This is game 1. That's why there's an Umezawa Jitte in my deck. Yeah, I agree with Pokemon Nerd, Octomona. Stuff like that usually. What makes people feel better usually varies person to person. Sure, I'm leaving up Snap Flusterstorm. I'll play a land and just pass here. I think if they don't do anything that makes me want to snap Flusterstorm next turn, I'm just going to snap Brainstorm in response. Or at end of turn. Get a creature into play and hopefully sculpt my hand into something that's a little bit better. This game's been a good example of something that transcends Magic formats, which is that I have Disruption, but I don't currently have a clock. Okay. So this lets them get any card out of their deck, and then it adds 3 mana to their mana pool. This build doesn't have any hate bears in the sideboard for this matchup, does it? It does not. Surgical's like, okay, I've got a Fluster, a Clique, a Narset, and some Rebs. This matchup's probably not very good for this configuration. I guess Spellstutter Sprite's technically Disruption. Alright, so this is a Past in Flames. Which... They haven't played a land yet this turn, right? What's up, Jake? Mom's gonna be back real soon. She's taking Declan over to school. So I know my opponent's hand is double Dark Ritual at the moment. I don't think I counter Past in Flames. If they have another land drop, I could get into trouble here. But like, I think they're gonna Dark Ritual. Mommy got blue water from the store?
Yeah, but we got it.
Yep.
Hey, there's a card over here.
There is a card over there, you're right.
I met a card.
Alright, so they're actually just thought seizing me. I think I'm going to go ahead and Snapcaster. And I'm gonna target Brainstorm here. And the reason why I'm going to target Brainstorm is I think they might just not be doing anything else this turn. And I want to get value off the Snapcaster Mage. And if they do have, like, a Lotus Petal or a land for Dark Ritual, I can then Brainstorm into a Spell Pierce, a Force, or a Spellstutter Sprite to, like, get them in that direction. Are you feeling better today?
Yeah.
So now they're going to cast Dark Ritual. And I'm going to go ahead and flashback Brainstorm. We're hoping to hit a Spellstutter Sprite here. Yay! Magic's a low variance game. Yay! What's wrong? You want the Gushers? General IRO, thank you for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Can you take these upstairs to the kitchen table?
No way. Maybe happy with garlic.
Alright. Flusterstorm, Red Elemental Blast, Narset, Vendilion Clique, Sword of Fire and Ice is fine. Jitte's bad. Swords to Plowshares is bad. True-Name's bad because it's really slow and clunky. Any reason not to snap flush the Past and Flame when you know they had at least 2 rituals in hand? Sure. So if I snap Fluster the Past and Flames, my opponent has 2 rituals in their hand, so they just do it again next turn, and my hand has nothing going on in it there. So I think snap flustering the Past and Flames is a play to lose line, or a play to not lose line, as opposed to a play to win line. So, like, consider the line that I took, where if I brainstorm into a Force Blue card or a Spellstutter Sprite to stop their Dark Ritual afterwards, they have now burned more resources, and they're less likely to be able to combo me the following turn after I disrupt them this turn. Remember, Past and Flames has flashback. So you're right, I could have guaranteed I didn't die that turn by snap flustering the Past and Flames. However, snap flustering the Past and Flames there leaves me incredibly likely to lose the following turn. I'm just going to board in 1 Surgical here. I don't think Surgical is that amazing in this matchup. I guess Council's Judgment isn't very good in this matchup, huh? Could do that. Alright, let's do that. If you concede while resolving Brainstorm, you get to keep all the cards in your hand. That's good value. It really is. This scene just doesn't have any disruption. That scene's fine. Would there have been any merit to fetching before the Brainstorm? No. In fact, it is very wrong to fetch before the Brainstorm because the percentage you get from thinning your deck is statistically insignificant, and having the fetch land in play guarantees that when I put 2 cards that I don't want from my hand back on top of my deck, I then get to use my fetch line to shuffle my deck so I don't have to redraw those bad cards. It is very, very, very wrong to burn your fetch before you Brainstorm. One of the reasons why Brainstorm is such a powerful card in Legacy is because the fetch lands let you put 2 cards back on top of your deck and then use your fetch to clear it, and Brainstorm's effectively like you've drawn 3 cards. What's Narset for? What can you... Well, you see this card here that my opponents cast Preordain, and the cards Brainstorm and Ponder that they cast. All of these cards are my opponent drawing me extra, or my opponent drawing extra cards. And Narset's static ability says your opponent can only draw 1 card per turn. So while Narset doesn't disrupt their actual combo turns, she heavily disrupts their ability to get set up. She also impulses for Force of Will twice. Force, please. Force, please. Okie doke. Alright, we got Force plus Surgical. Hopefully not going to die this turn. This weird pattern land that you asked about is what the original dual lands look like, and good golly, are they hideous. In my opinion, they are god-awful looking. Alright, hopefully they can't beat Force plus Surgical here. I think it was worth it to tap out for the Narset. Wow, they just took the Narset. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Huh. Yeah, the actual art is fine on the artwork itself, but the pattern is rancid. You have 4 cards. Am I dead? Scale of 1 to dead. What are we working with? For Kitchen Table Commander, I'll never understand. I guess people just have very different mindsets to me. If I was someone who was playing like Kitchen Table Commander, there's no way I'd pay money for real dual lands. I'd just print them off a laser printer and put them in a sleeve in front of a real card. They revealed Duress. Rude. Ooh, is my opponent going to punt? Okay, so they punted. So they just Infernal Tutored, showing me Duress to get another Duress. So because they didn't crack this fetch land here, when they crack... Oh, they're not cracking the fetch. Okay, well, I'm going to put a stop on their draw step. Oh, so they're fakes. They are proxies. Alright, so during my opponent's draw step here, I'm going to Surgical their Duress because I know they have another Duress in their hand. So I'm basically using this Surgical Extraction as a discard spell. And they have Infernal Tutor and a bunch of other cards that are not particularly good in their hand. So what I'm going to do here is during their draw step here still, there's an Infernal Tutor in their discard pile. I'm going to snap Surgical their Infernal Tutors here. All right, and what all are they boarding? So I get to look at their deck here too. They have 3 copies of Silence. That's really good against my counterspells. That looks like it. So they have 2 Thoughtseizes, 4 Duress, and 3 copies of Silence. And 2 Chain of Vapor for any hate bears. They have 4 Thoughtseizes, huh? 2, 4, so 4. They have a lot of disruption. Now they're at 14. I have 3 power in play. I have a Flusterstorm and a Counterspell, so like pretty likely to kill them relatively quick. Stoneforge increases the clock dramatically as well here. Resolves. Alright, so now they're dead on my... Dead in 2. I attack them for 3, I drop Batterskull into play, and then we kill them next turn. And the 4th land draw is good here, because it means I can counterspell, plus put Batterskull into play this turn, which is ideal. Well, that went according to plan. Hopefully we can not get got on the draw here. Iganasty checking in with the 15-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a fantastic middle of your week. Robin Kurtzia, thanks for the 4 months. This is Rick. Sounds good. I'll say I didn't recognize that one, but sometimes I forget. I keep this. It doesn't have a red source for this blast, but it's got Snare, it's got Brainstorm, it's got Ponder. Hey, good morning, Sean. Happy Wednesday. No worries, Marty. And like I said in the video, right, like, there's a reason why... Drake's is a deck that's really seeing play, right? Alright, so conventional wisdom is never end step Brainstorm. The actual reality is sometimes you're supposed to end step Brainstorm. Unfortunately, in this case, I did not hit a fetch. There's the fetch land I wanted for Christmas. The blade part of this deck refers to the Sword of Fire and Ice. Stoneforge Mystic decks are generally referred to as color and then blade as the deck. These are my cards, as you will. Gonna lose Spell Snare here. We could die. Want to crack this fetch before I draw, because I know there's a Batterskull and a land on top of my deck, neither of which I would like to draw. A Zark. Thanks for the Prime support. Welcome, welcome. Zach Zark. Thanks for keeping me around. So, we want them to draw cantrips at this point so I can trade these Red Elemental Blasts 1-for-1. That's not good for me. That probably means I'm dead. This would prevent me from casting further spells this turn, so I have to counter it. So I'm hoping to draw. So I need to hit one of my other 3 copies of Force of Will with this Brainstorm. Right, because whatever they're getting here is not going to end well for me. That's unfortunate. I guess they don't have... Oh, they're gonna ad nauseum here, right? That's what's about to happen. So, statistically dead from here, but not guaranteed dead. They're going to get a 5-mana card that lets them draw any number of cards off the top of their deck one at a time, and they lose life equal to the total converted mana cost. So they're going to draw a significant portion of their deck here. You'll note that when I resolve that Brainstorm, I put the Flusterstorm back on top of my deck. And the reason why I did that was because I need to... my opponent's likely going to... If my opponent doesn't kill me this turn, which they might not. They probably are, but they might not. If they don't, they're likely to play a discard spell. And if they play a discard spell, I'd prefer that they don't get to take my Flusterstorm. Is Twitch Prime going away? Are they aggressively advertising paid subs with the continue sub button? I mean, the continue sub button lets you use your Prime sub still, I believe. If I recall correctly. So my opponent, in fact, did not successfully go off with the Ad Nauseam here, which means I get to untap with double Spellstutter Sprite, Red Elemental Blast, and a Flusterstorm, which means we might not be dead next turn even, which would be ideal. Yeah, by no means is Ad Nauseam guaranteed to kill. And they know about these. So I assume they're expecting to get this sprited. And then their first cantrip is going to get red. Yes, Jacob. You ate all the gushers?
Yeah.
Silence. Gosh, that's rude. Are we just dead again? I guess we're not just dead. We're close though. So I have to do this because if I don't do this, I can't cast any more spells this turn, which means I can't do anything. So I just spell Fluster here. All right, this is the last of my Gusher stash. Why did they stop at 8 life? They stopped at 8 life because they felt like they were likely to kill me. They were likely to win the game with their handful of cards punch-worthy, and they didn't want to push their luck. Yeah, I guess they are. I guess they are still short on. They are still short on rituals, right? Hey, those are only sub because my cats like watching. Oh, I'm glad your cats like watching me at a tier 3 level. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one. So they get to Cabal Ritual up to 5. And then, yeah, are we deterministic here at this point? They do this, they crack this, they get Past in Flames, and then Past in Flames lets them do this for 5, and then do this. I think they're short. They don't have another ritual in here, right? Oh, they just have the Tendril skill already. Got it. That's why they got me to Red Elemental Blast. I helped them hit Storm Count to get to there. Okay. Yep. Wubwin, thank you for the 15 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Hope this covers the next box of Gushers. Thanks, Boshek. And we're dead. How does getting cards in MTGO work? MTGO basically mimicked the paper model. So, like one of my sponsors, MTGO Traders, they're a store that buys and sells Magic Online cards. So there is a secondary market on Magic Online, and you pay cash for specific singles, generally speaking, by going to a site like MTGO Traders. Well, it's not $800 digitally. The digital prices are very different. So they're not linked directly to paper. It's just the economy mimics what paper does. So the specific prices vary paper and digital. But there is a supply, demand, etc., etc. In fact, a lot of legacy cards are pretty cheap online because the demand isn't that high, because legacy is not a particularly popular format. As much as I love Spellstutter Sprite, I really feel like that game there was a great example of like why that card's probably not very good in this deck or this format. Like it got to do its thing, but it was just like too much mana to be disruption, and it wasn't very efficient at being a clock. Oddly implemented? That's a weird way to say poorly implemented. How much does it cost to get a deck list tuned before we submit it to you? I'm trying. New card, mono green, and mono green Tron. I don't understand no one I've talked to has been able to tell me the appeal of the new card in mono green Tron. What problem does mono green Tron have that's solved by playing this card? Why is it better than just like playing a different bomb that's better? Can you sell me on it? As far as like getting my opinion on deck lists, I'm always happy to give my opinion on things, but you want to post it in the subs Discord and tag me, especially when I'm offline. Always happy to poke in and say I like this or don't like this. But I'm just going to say a lot of the same things that I say here on stream. Like, why are we making this change? What is this change solving? What meaningful thing is it doing, etc. What's up, dude? You want to watch TV in the train room?
Yeah.
Alright, I gotta go set up TV in the train room really quick. I'll be right back.
I'm not back. Mommy, what? Bye, minute.
Yeah, mommy's gonna be home soon.
Mommy, got to
Yep. Hey, madman. Sorry about that. My wife will be home soon. She had to take Declan over to school, and Jake's home today because he had a fever yesterday. So, Octomono, here's my response to you. It allows me to stump Storm decks, Death Shadow decks, and humans by having silver bullet artifacts in the board. In a world, so you're saying you're using a 4-mana card to then get further more expensive things from the sideboard in matchups where you're dying brutally quick. So, in those matchups, you're saying this card is good when you have 7 mana. All your cards are good when you have 7 mana. So, to put Chalice on something meaningful against Storm, sure, I could see it being fine in Mono Blue Tron. Sorry, Woodwin. I always grab the list the night before because MTGO traders, I have to get the stuff ahead of time because it takes a little bit of time. But I agree that the Spellstutter Sprites do not seem fantastic. And that's coming from someone who loves this card. He is a fan of trains. I don't think I need to hold up Spell Snare on 2. Let's dig for some lands here. Perfect. Oh. I just hit any order, didn't I? Well, at any rate, all those cards are good, so let's draw them. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted anyways. My misclick didn't hurt. Yep. I don't know. I feel like the new card in Tron just feels like this is where I don't draw Tron and they blow up Tron and they don't clock me hard enough. I mean, like, what decks are doing that in the format? Like, so you're saying it's good against, like, black-green rock? Like, your black-green rock matchup is great. So again, it's just like, I understand it does stuff. My problem is, it doesn't feel like it's doing meaningful stuff that you weren't already doing. And so far, nobody's been able to sell me on that it actually is. The other thing you have to understand is that, and this is really important, Modern's a format that's all about your sideboard cards. And, like, as someone who's tried, God, they have multiple Narsets. As someone who's like spent a lot of time playing terrible Glittering Wish decks in Modern, I think it is, really important to recognize that. I think it's a bit more important to get True-Name down here. Like, losing a bunch of sideboard slots so you can toolbox in the main deck is, like, a real cost. So, like, you're losing percentage points in some matchups by not having a full sideboard. Sure, but Chalky, I get it, but make up a number. What percentage of games am I locking my opponent out with Karn that I'm not otherwise already winning? And, like, obviously, this is a gut feeling question, but, like, that's the question you have to be able to answer. How often is what you're doing meaningfully better than what you were already doing at the cost of losing a bunch of sideboard slots? I think I'm just going to deploy Batterskull plus Spellstutter Sprite this turn. Although maybe I just want to Council's Judgment that. Sure, and I'm saying it's not good. That's no one. I keep asking the same questions and people keep giving me the same non-answers. I think I want to get rid of Saheeli here. Because if Saheeli stays in play, I'm not going to be able to apply pressure to their planeswalkers. So if I just get rid of those, I can just attack down the Narset. My hand doesn't have that many cantrips in it right now. It's not that big of a deal. And they exiled this to a force, right? Yeah. Sure, but you could just play Relic game 1 against Dredge. Sure, but, like, what are you cutting from your deck then? Are you cutting Wormcoil? Are you cutting Ulamog? I think that's what it is, Brian. I think the new Karn is shiny. I think Tron's a really dry, kind of boring deck, and people are desperate to do something interesting with it. I agree, Nivik. You're either cutting threats or you're cutting consistency. Those are your two options. Those are all the cards. Those are the only types of cards in the deck. Threats and things that add consistency. Making your linear deck slower and more interactive, in my experience, is always bad in Modern. You are losing a bunch of sideboard slots. Every bullet you put in... Every bullet you put in is giving up a sideboard slot. So I don't get to deploy Batterskull here by Spellstutter Spriting, but I get guaranteed value off my Sprite, and my Sprite gets to guaranteed love tap this Narset, which unlocks my cantrips, which seems good. Yeah, they're playing. Opponents playing, for people that are newer to Legacy, opponents playing looks like a bit of a brew here with some new 3-mana planeswalkers. They have Narset and they have Saheeli. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like Young Pyromancer in their deck too. Yeah, apparently Farron. I don't know. They're probably the same type of people that think Splinter Twin's gonna break Modern. I think I actually want to plus Jace to start here because there's a good chance my opponent's a Lightning Bolt deck. Of course, you could also argue that if my opponent had a Lightning Bolt, they might have saved their Narset or killed my Stoneforge. So it's like 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. If we get to untap with this Jace, the game should pretty much be over. Do 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 do. Huh? That's annoying. Guess I should have left my Sprite back. I want to fetch here too because maybe I should have pondered. Hey, look at that. It's exactly what I wanted for Christmas. We're going to plow this now so I can spell Pierce like a counterspell. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I agree. You're like, the argument is like, the arguments for it are like incredibly narrow. Hey, Malaris, glad to hear it. Welcome to a live one. Hope you're having a good morning. Alright, so let's Jace Storm before I ponder, because this way if I brick on a fetch land here, which we did, I can use the ponder to shuffle my deck. Main deck of Braid's super reasonable, especially in a more controlling deck. Stoneblade's like pretty common in Legacy. And do I want to keep the plow? I'm gonna keep the plow actually. Allows me to attack with this and still protect this from something else. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we're still ahead. I think plowing the click to keep my Jace alive is ideal. It's a concession lockup. More an sadistic. Alright, I want my Narset, my click, my Sword of Fire and Ice. Red Elemental Blast sounds great against their pile of Planeswalkers. I don't know that EE is good enough. They have Vendilion Clique, but I don't know that Swords to Plowshares is worthwhile. I guess there's a good chance they're a Young Pyromancer deck, which does make Plow better. I probably don't want all of my forces. I'm not a fan of cutting all the forces in these fair matchups just because a lot of the times these fair matchups come down to like resolving a very key threat, which is generally a big deal. I like keeping some forces in. Yeah, this is the second mass party bus. I'm going to trim 2 plows for now. There's no guarantee. They might just be on Planeswalkers. Pierce is probably actually better than Flusterstorm because they're on a bunch of Planeswalkers. Let's give this a try. there could be merit to boarding in the Engineered Explosives because there's also a chance my opponent has true names of their own. That's probably not unreasonable. I have Council's Judgment at least, though. And looks great. I don't know. Probably some real life happened to Justin. People come and they go. We'll be here. I'm sure they'll be back around at some point. I think I recall him saying something about a kid at some point last time he was here, which that definitely causes life changes. I don't think I'm in a position to want a Force of Will. And I cracked my fetch there because I didn't want to redraw those cards. Missing a sword. Let's fix that. So, part of me wants another blue source. I guess True Name's good enough to be worth drawing. So, I don't want to draw 2 more lands, but because this is a fetch, I can go put this back, put this back, put this back, don't shuffle. I draw the fetch land, and then next turn I'll draw the True Name, and then we'll use the fetch land to shuffle that island away so I don't have to draw it. That's one of the reasons why fetches are so powerful with these cantrips, is the fetches kind of let me not only shuffle from Brainstorms, but control exactly how many cards I'm drawing from certain things. What do each of the symbols by the chat names mean? These symbols tell the story of a coming up through Hoaglandia. You start with a shovel, toiling in the soil as a dirty peasant, and then eventually you're awarded a pair of work boots at 3 months. And then at 6 months, you get a training sword to become a Knight of the Realm. And then the 1 year badge is a shield, and I also give people mod swords at 1 year, so you get a sword and a shield when you've been here for a year. Morning, Gara. I'm going to fetch Basic Island here, because I think there's a chance my opponent's a Blood Moon deck. Like, I have plenty of white. Red Elemental Blast, rude. It says, this is why we kept the second True Name. Hey, Team Darkwater, thank you for the 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. When 5-0 in a constructed league on Arena with Blue Black Kefnet, the deck is fun and has a ton of play to it. I feel like I have a game against all decks. The only thing I had a hard time against was White X aggro. Yeah, I believe White X aggro is hard. Like I said, the Kefnet deck and Sultai Flash are my 2 top picks for the MCQ at the end of the month. To Osby, thank you for the 4-month resub. Welcome back. Time check till we play video games. Usually about an hour from now. I heard about 9:30. This is Snapcaster Mage. He's gonna run the distance. He's going the distance. He's going full speed. He's all alone in this time of need. I choose you, Pikachu. So this card is incredibly poorly designed and very powerful because it's poorly designed. This card now has protection from my opponent, which means my opponent can't block it, and none of their cards can deal damage to it or target it. One of Legacy is basically the Bob Ross format. It's just all of Magic's happy accidents. Now there's non-blue cards that are definitely mistakes in this format too. Don't pretend that only the blue cards don't pretend that only blue cards have horrible mistakes surrounding them. Jitte, another horrible mistake. This card would be modern legal except they have the decency to ban it there. Every time the equipped creature deals damage to combat damage, this card gets 2 counters on it, and the counters can gain life, make the equipped creature bigger, or give -1/-1 to things. I'm going to go ahead and just play the Spellstutter Sprite out here. Obviously, they're going to Red Elemental Blast it, but trading the Reb for my Sprite here I think is a good trade for me. It's like not trading for a Jace or something else more valuable later. It does not, Party Bus Driver. So, Protection's a mechanic that we don't use in Magic anymore because it's generally speaking considered confusing and bad. Protection means can't take damage, can't be blocked, and can't be targeted. But global effects still go after it. Oh. I boarded in my Sword of Fire and Ice, right? Yep. Try and pump up the jam here and close this game out. Spell Snare. Rude. Jitte is just an artifact Planeswalker. Yeah, she can't interact with by attacking. Do you see them completing the sword cycle of Modern Horizons? Yeah, I hope so. Honestly, I hope they go back and finish like the Horizon Canopy cycle or like the Grove of the Burn Willow cycle. So things like that, those lands from Future Set. I hope they finish one or two of those cycles. I think that would be sweet. I have an MCU coming up. Would you recommend Sultai Flash or the Blue-Black Kefta deck you're talking about? I have Mono Red, but it seems like it'll be the main target event. So here's the thing you need to understand about Mono Red in this format. Mono Red is really good, even with a lot of people wanting to beat it. That's just the TLDR. I am planning to play the Blue-Black Kefnet or Sultai Flash deck at my event at the end of the month. Which of the two? I don't know yet. I have 2 weeks to figure it out, or 2.5 weeks to figure it out. The reason I gave this +2/+2 as opposed to gaining more life is because I misclicked. Well, I pushed Blue-Black Kefnet into the menu for today's SCTR. So the queue is dark and full of terrors at the moment, but I want to make sure that I get some time in to like play the decks I'm interested in playing in the tournament too. So I'm making sure I get one of the decks I'm considering playing in each day, I think, between now and then. Make sure I get plenty of reps in. What event did I say I'm going to at the end of the month? So because I finished in the top 1,000, there's an event on Magic Arena. That's a qualifier for Mythic Championship 3. I'm also an error occurred while trying to pair you with another player. Please contact game support for. Dang it, Magic Online. Dang it, Magic Online. I'm also planning to play next month on June, I think it's 14th and 15th. Their Nerd Rage Gaming is having a double 5K weekend. That's double standard. So whatever deck, I want to try and find a deck for that too. A green-black Citadel be something you'd take to a tournament. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that deck quite meets. So like when I take a deck to a tournament, I'm not just looking at do I think the deck is good from a power level perspective. If I'm going to take the time to like take a weekend or a day to play in a Magic tournament, generally I look for a certain level of player agency a deck to allot me. And I feel I'm not sure that the green-black Citadel deck quite meets the level of player agency that I'm looking for in a deck. And for those newer to Magic, when I say player agency, I mean kind of the ability to like make my own destiny. So like a lot of decks that are incredibly interactive are decks that I would refer to as having more player agency. Built Blue Black kept it. I need a couple more rare wild cards for Ritual Assault and Contempt. I threw in Cry for now. Do you think it's an okay replacement? Should I use something else in the meantime? Cry's okay. Cry's okay against white aggro. I don't know. It might just be better just like play some cast downs and some spot removal. Yeah, the green-black deck in paper also sounds incredibly tedious to play. Like the having to track everything that's going on. And like say what you will about Magic tournaments, but there's a very real bit to be gained from playing decks that require, and this is the upside of playing decks with less player agency, is having decks that require less mental capacity on average throughout the tournament is definitely a real upside. So I let this resolve because True-Name Nemesis is more important. And if they have a force for this, I want to force them back. I choose you, Pikachu. I would like to force your true name. Nope. Brainstorm resolves. Huh. I'm gonna fight over this. I think I want my Batterskull. Yeah, it's sweet when it comes together, Isha. We played a 4-color Planeswalker deck on stream last week at some point that we got to do that with at least once. Getting Spell Pierce there, like, isn't the end of the world because it means that they're, like, not going to be able to Spell Pierce my Batterskull most likely, which is nice. Although I guess it leaves Snap Batterskull a possibility. Alright. All in. Please don't Supreme Verdict me. Oketra is going in most Bant shells, but not a huge Vant pan. I think you're going to have a home and an Abzan shell, or it's Little Tef and Tempo cards what make Oketra good. I don't think Little Tef is strictly what makes Oketra good, so much as Little Tef is just good in the format, and Oketra is also good, so they're two great flavors that taste good together, if that makes sense. Yeah, I agree, Korlewski. We've played Narset's Reversal on stream before. It's very reasonable. I definitely agree. It's fantastic in the Blue Mares. So now this is just, you know, truly Magic's most interactive format. We're gonna have dueling true names and Jeeps. So they're gonna equip their Batterskull to True-Name Nemesis, and I'm gonna equip my Batterskull to True-Name Nemesis, and then we're gonna run around in circles chasing our tails. I have 2 True Names, I guess. So like. Oh, God, I am just the smartest and the thinnest Magic the Gathering player there ever was. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Alright, get to try again next turn. This does my try and fail here does mean that I get to have to take another hit here, and I didn't get to lifelink myself. So the conservative play is just equip my Batterskull, right? The conservative play is equip my Batterskull. This leaves me dead to Force, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, and Snapcaster Mage. I should probably just equip my Batterskull. In for a penny, in for a pound. I don't know. If this works, I win the game on the spot, right? If it doesn't work, I lose the game on the spot. I don't know. I kind of hate playing these mirror matches. They really just suck. So I feel like I'd rather just take a high risk, high reward play. Yeah, it's a really special kind of awful. does not make for particularly compelling or interesting gameplay. But that's a lot of Legacy. Like, there's a lot of, like, decks in here that I would just describe as not making for particularly compelling or interesting gameplay. So what do I actually want to cut here? Maybe it is all the forces out. What deck would you recommend for people who have trouble concentrating on full days of Magic? Aggro decks, because then you're not playing Magic all day. You're playing Magic for like a quarter of the day, and you're sitting with your thumb up your butt for the rest. Yeah, is it just Plow? Yeah, I guess like killing Stoneforge Mystic is less important post board because I have Disenchant and stuff like that. Sure, I'd buy that. Yeah, I think so, Brian. Like, the game is over, they can't win if that resolves, right? How's the day going? We got stormed once and died. We just took a bit of a risk in the mirror and failed twice and died. Heading to game 2. We'll stick some more true names and play past each other. Nah, I think, statistically speaking, it's probably super wrong to make them have it. It's just like, the problem is that, like, if I play conservative there, if the correct line gives them an extra draw, and if they stop at the following turn, we're just like sitting there hitting each other with true names with Batterskulls on them for the next decade. And I just really don't want to sit here for the next decade and do that. There are some standard legal cards in this deck. We've got a Narset and a Time Raveler. Now, I think it's super right to make them have it the first time punishing Waterfalls, because they only had 2 cards in their hand. So, like, by making them have it the first time, they had to have exactly force blue card. The first time I did it, I wasn't dead the following turn. So I think there's a lot of compelling reasons to make them have it the first time. Like, I'm confident it's strictly correct to make them have it the first time, and I'm also confident it's wrong to make them have it the second time. I just didn't want to wait. Sure, I'd be netting 3 damage, but it's still going to take a while. A lot can go wrong in, 5 turns. I'm just going to take this draw step of the land on top. I'm just going to play Drago for now. If we make it to 5 lands, I can Planeswalker plus a Spellstutter Sprite, maybe. Yeah, there aren't, I think, like, so, legacy prices are really expensive today, but I think I agree with Brian's assessment that I'd be surprised if there's too many people that are actually, like, buying into legacy today, so much as it's a bunch of people who have, like, had cards for a while and are just, like, still playing with the cards that they've had for a while. And they're just like, spell piercing here because their spell pierce is going to be turned off once he's in play. I'm just going to go ahead and cycle him right away. I think that's still right to do that here. Palace Jailer, yep. Subbed a few weeks ago, and here's a delayed thanks. Non-striped Zebra, thanks for the 5 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I actually just get to not even care about this Palace Jailer because I get to just play Narset here. Oh, actually, was I supposed to... I was probably supposed to just play True-Name there. Well, I get to hold up Reb now, which is nice. So the Monarch gets passed around when you deal combat damage, which is weird that they decided to put that. They just have a Batterskull, sure. Which is weird that they decided to play that in a True-Name Nemesis mirror. Teferi guaranteeing everything I do resolves here is like really absurd. Getting to play Hearthstone is great. Just like, what if every spell I cast guarantees resolves and you can't do anything? How would that make you feel? Hey, Shez, thanks for the half a year. Welcome back. I would like a Sword of Fire and Ice, please. I choose you, Pikachu. Yeah, the days being mixed up is weird. That's incredibly rude, opponent. The spell can't be countered. That's why we didn't reb it, for people wondering. Well, Narset says they can't draw extra cards. Teferi says they can't cast instants, so that's pretty good, though. Tef's gonna send this back from where it came. Give me Boros Horizon Canopy. That would be great. Bird would be really good with Boros Horizon Canopy. Really looking for a threat here. Or a Brainstorm, one of the two. Right? Yeah, I mean, I guess that qualifies, right? Just equip Narset with the blade, right? They know about one of these red elemental blasts. We're going to end step the crap out of this Spellstutter Sprite and get it equipped. It's actually Ice Tea, Ed Faith. So this game should be over now. I think it was over a while ago, but it's guaranteed over now. We're going to kill this. We're going to draw an extra card. We're going to take the Monarch from them. Spellstutter Sprite best threat. I mean, she's something. So now I become the Monarch, so I get to draw an extra card each turn. And I actually get to draw the extra card, unlike my opponent who has not been drawing the extra card. I would love a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Begin the sculpting of the minds. Begin the sculpting of the minds. Don't mind me. I'll just be over here doing my thing. Doing my thing. Little Tef put on a clinic this game, huh? Power couple confirmed good legacy. The old Teferi Narset. Get a little threesome action with Jace here. Yeah, I think I'm happy with how we sideboarded. How many cantrips and counterspells do we think they're holding? All of them. Pretty easy mulligan here. A lot of lands and no brainstorms to fix. This hand's like not very good, but it's definitely in the range of keepable. I'm gonna bottom that. I guess it's good against turn 2 Stoneforge. I'm gonna lead on Flooded Strand here because they play a cantrip on 2. I'm gonna Red Elemental Blast it. What's going on, Malt? Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Are they not have a land? It's good for me. So this is a fun squeeze. So I get to cast Council's Judgment here. And I either exile the Stoneforge Mystic, which means they can't put in the Batterskull, or if they put in the Batterskull, I then get to exile the Batterskull. They have Force of Will. Of course they do. Well, at least Force of Will means that the Jace is more likely to resolve. Opponent understands how this matchup works, though. Like I mentioned, these matches tend to come down to around resolving a very key card. Wow, are they missing a land drop again after casting 2 cantrips? That's pretty unfortunate for them. Alright, do you have another force? You do not. I always imagine Force of Will is a counterspell powered by Constipation. That's an interesting picture. Little Tef is really good, Swift. Really, really good. I'll put those 2 back. Maybe I was supposed to plus my Jace there. So I can flash in Sprite as a blocker. I can also play Narset to impulse past those cards I just put on top of my deck. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I'm gonna do this now. Just like get my blocker into play. They're pretty unlikely to to, like, this is only going to counter a cantrip if I wait anyways, and they're not going to want a cantrip with Narset in play anyways. Narset letting us impulse past Jace the Mind Sculptor, Brainstorm backs is really sweet. Some good clean synergy there. Resolves. He's dead, Jim. Guess who's back? Back again. Jace is back. Tell a friend. Man, Narset and Little Tef are like really good in these matchups. I think I'm gonna have to work those cards into my I think I'm gonna have to work those cards into my my preferred build of Jeskai Blade. What a cuss! Coming in hot with the 6-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one. We start standing about 9:30 most of the time. Alright, so we get a couple looks here. Snapcaster Mage is a perfect one. The land's actually a good pickup here too, because the land means that if they have a Force of Will here, I can Red Elemental Blast their Force of Will. Although, actually, we know they can't force us because they have Stoneforge Mystic as one of their 2 cards in hand. Someone told me to start playing Modern, I would need like $1,000. You only need $1,000 if you want to play a good deck. You can play bad decks for way less than $1,000. This Batterskull bouncing and returning is going to be a little annoying. I think I'm going to shuffle these. Really want to find a Disenchant here. Another Council's Judgment. Okay, I guess that'll do pig, huh? That's true. There are bad decks also available for more than $1,000. Like, part of me is like, do I even want to counter that? Because it actually can't Brainstorm because I have a Narset in play. But that's probably asking for trouble. I'm going to throw these back. I'm going to keep Force Blue card here so that I can deploy this sort of Fire and Ice and have a Counterspell up. Yeah, if I don't counter, they could bounce the Snap and kill Narset, which is kind of a wash, but like keeping the Narset in place seems good. Did I know they have sort of Fire and Ice in their hand? Yeah, Narset dunks hard on Brainstorm. Not close. It is currently 10 after 9. We're going to play one more match of Legacy after this. This one's almost done. So like 20 minutes to a half hour before we change over, depending on how long the next match goes. Man, when this person figures out they should give up. All right, I'm going to run to the restroom really quick. And when I get back, we're going to play one more match of Legacy. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Hand's not particularly good against, like, a combo deck, but, like, decent in general. I'm going to any order shuffle those. Really don't want to draw 2 lands in a row here. Verdant Catacombs, eh? Yeah, as much as I love this card, it's been incredibly awkward in these leagues. Chalice the Void. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, could be. I think statistically they're 4-color loam at this point, but definitely could be a variety of things still. Hey, Nubinated. Thank you for the 4-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, Bobby, draw some cards. That's an Assassin's Trophy. Dark Confidant's actually much better in Legacy than he is in Modern, because Legacy is a much less creature-based format, which means that your Dark Confidant is more likely to survive. Yeah, the Mox Diamond confirms that they're playing Loam for us. This gives them the opportunity to Assassin Trophy my Batterskull, but if they Assassin Trophy my Batterskull, I get to get a basic land, and the basic land means that I can Umezawa's Jitte and kill their Dark Confidant next turn, which is nice. So I think this sequence ends up working out for me here. It's unfortunate that this is game 1 and there's no sword in the main deck of this build. Maze of Ith is also unfortunate. Hey, Cloud, thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. And like Knight of the Reliquary here, we could be in a little bit of trouble. Lay on the Veil, sure. Chalice has a converted mana cost of 0 while it's in play. I flash in the Spellstutter Sprite here to guaranteed kill a Leon of the Veil. And save Maze of Ith. We're really hoping to draw like land into Jace here. Snapcaster Mage, Nivik. Snapcaster Mage was the last invitational card. Alright, we hit the 4th land, which means Jace is a possibility to draw now. We're notably missing 2nd white currently. So we can't cast Council's Judgment, so that's not currently an out for us. Yep. The chalices are on the number that's all the cards in my hand are on. The reason I'm not casting any of my spells. On Magic Online, when there's no number next to the counter, it just means there's a singleton counter. I agree, it's a poor interface. This might be a Narset matchup, too. I think it's a Flusterstorm matchup. Sprite's just pretty poor overall. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this. Trim a couple of forces. This matchup's a little attrition-based. Again, leaving some in just because. Just because stopping a key card can be important sometimes. I could maybe see Force being better than this Singleton Spell Pierce on the draw, especially. So for the 3rd game, we'll board the Force back in, and we'll cut the Spell Pierce. How many non-Narset matchups? I'm not really sure there's many, actually. I think there's a good chance we should just have, like, 2 Narsets in our main. I guess. I forgot to mute there. I'm sorry. I thought I hit it. Lands and Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, I mean, that's probably good for me, right? I think he's too slow, Synth. I think we let that resolve and go all in on Stoneforge Mystic. Nah, they play Abrupt Decay still. Waterfalls, so I think that's a bad line. And I got Sword of Fire and Ice here as opposed to the Batterskull because I'm so far behind on cards right now that I feel like I need something like Sword of Fire and Ice to allow me to catch back up. So we're hoping to draw a Swords to Plowshares next turn so I can plow this and then equip this and hit them. Snapcaster Mage would be an okay second. 3 mana Teferi, also decent. Spell Pierce, not going to do it. Welcome to Thunderdome. Not a whole lot we could do there. We mulligan to a bad 5, and then ended up casting a Force Wall that put us even further behind. The Spellstutter Sprites were bad. My takeaway from the league, though, is that both Teferi, Time Raveler, and Narset Parter of Veils was pretty reasonable. This is the configuration of Jeskai Blade that I've played a bunch with in the past. And I think I would want to take a look at this and try and figure out how exactly I wanted to fit those cards in. It could be that Blood Moon is just like not needed in the sideboard and I could fit some in that way. It's also very possible things like Vendilion Mage and Containment Priest are like permanent base hate against Storm are cards that could turn into those other Planeswalkers because they're kind of permanent base hate against Storm too in a way. Teacup, thanks for the 9-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I could also see maybe being a little bit greedy and trimming on a Lightning Bolt or a Spell Pierce in the main deck or the Counterspell, because Narset gives us a little bit more density in terms of those things. I did like that the other list had 2 copies of Council Judgment. That card's really powerful, so having a second copy of that in this 75 is probably not a bad idea. But definitely would put some thought into like getting probably like 1 3-mana Teferi and like 2 Narsets into the 75, because Narset's like being a mono blue Leovold style effect is very good.